the hardcore knowledge about life, consciousness, soul, body, and all these things?
I started my journey when I was 23 years old with this modality called Reiki, which is one of the core essence of energy healing. Om is equal to MC square was very close to my heart because obviously it's your first baby, and it addresses all of our basic doubts about manifestation.
If our chakras are balanced, we will be more sane. Is it like that?
I don't know about sanity or sane would be the right word, but definitely balancing your chakras helps you expand your paradigm of manifestation and creation. It helps you look at life from a very bigger lens. The inner world is reflected on your outer world, and it is a proven science that says that the quantum field out there is just a mirror. It's not like a formula that I can give you that do this. The problem with people not finding balance is because they're expecting that हमने 2 healing sessions कर दिया हम balance हो जाएंगे. No, it's not like that. It's like a constant journey. Your breath is your connection to life. It's your connection to the entire field of consciousness, because when we breathe in, we are breathing in prana.
Okay, relationship,
Love,
physics,
quantum,
science.
life.
Hello and welcome to the show which says what's your plot, and we have our guest today, Dr. Ramonllamba. Thank you ma'am for the show and welcoming us to the great place which is called the Golden Age Iswara, right? You have been here since how long?
First of all, thank you Mansi for having me here with you. And to answer your question, Golden Age Iswara is a new baby. Although we've been into this industry and into this work for the last 3 decades, the transition from Golden Age transformation to Golden Age Iswara is a very, very recent transition. And there's a purpose for why we decided to do this. And we've been in this particular location for the last 2 months.
Okay, great. And since how long are you practicing all these aspects?
I started my journey when I was 23 years old with this modality called Reiki, which is one of the core essence of energy healing. And after that, there was no looking back. And because the domain of energy and this quantum world is so infinite that you keep going and you keep exploring. So it's almost been 3 decades now where we've been committed to transforming lives.
So to introduce, she is a writer. She is now the mother of 2 books, which says the first book is Om is equal to MC square, and the other book is Echoes of the Soul. I want you to introduce these 2 books, and I hope that first book is all about manifestation. We will talk about this later in our show. I would like to just give a brief about these 2 books so that my audience can read more about the same thing.
Sure. So, Om is equal to MC square was very close to my heart because obviously it's your first baby, and it addresses all of our basic doubts about manifestation. Because currently, if you understand, there's so much knowledge about manifestation, but there's no targeted approach. So, having taken Einstein's equation E is equal to MC square, we've simplified the whole context of why you should be chanting Om and the power of Om, because that was the sound that really manifested the universe, right? So this book talks all about the paradigm of manifestation and what are those qualities you should embody to really manifest in finite worlds.
Absolutely great. I would need more information about the manifestation later on in the show, because people are so confused that they feel कि manifestation हमसे होती ही नहीं है, हमें आती ही नहीं है. Affirmations पता ही नहीं है कि किस तरीके से उसको bifurcate किया जाए. So we will talk about this later. What about this book?
So, Echoes of the Soul, exploring human emotions. So, with this whole new world that is coming of artificial intelligence, it's important we recognize the only difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence is the presence of our emotions. And when you understand life, all the thunder that happens is because of our emotions. We don't have to manage them. So this is a book about exploring your dark side and your light side. So when you look at the cover, it is a black and a white,
right.
And each one of us has a dark side or a devil in us,
right.
And we also have an angel in us. But these are the 2 bipolar aspects of us, and when we learn to balance them and merge ourselves into singularity, we explore the 7 colors of the rainbow, and when these 7 colors merge, we merge into a singularity of the white light.
White light, yes.
And that's the whole essence of this book, where I talk about the dark side of the shadow, and it also says merging our dark shadows from duality to singularity.
Right.
Reaching into the 0 point field of our consciousness.
Absolutely right. So is it also called like balancing our chakra? Will that also help?
Balancing your chakras is one aspect of exploring
Right.
your self or your emotional states, because your chakras also are your energy centers, right? And they are energy generators. And emotions also means energy in motion,
Right.
emotion. So yeah, it is technically very intertwined.
And do you believe that, if our chakras are balanced, we will be more sane? Is it like that?
I don't know about sanity or sane would be the right word, but definitely balancing your chakras helps you expand your paradigm of manifestation and creation. It helps you look at life from a very bigger lens.
Right.
Because your chakras also are lenses from which you view the world. Right? And our chakras, every 7 chakras that we have inside the human body, are storehouse of certain emotions.
Right.
Right? So it definitely helps you look at the world from a very cleaner lens, a better perspective, and also enhances your ability to manifest the world of your dreams.
Absolutely right. I think this was a great brief about these 2 books. Let's get started towards the show now. The hardcore knowledge about more into life, consciousness, soul, body and all these things. So कहते हैं कि हमारा जो inner soul है, it is a reflection of outer soul as well. Is it true? Because हमारा inner soul कई बार balance नहीं हो पाता, जैसे अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं कि हमारे chakras every time it cannot be balanced. Sometimes we are not financially imbalanced because of our work situation, stress हो रहा है, बहुत चीजें चल रही हैं एक लाइफ में, तो बैलेंस नहीं कर पाते. इसकी वजह से हमारे inner soul is not balanced, which reflects the outer soul. How can we balance the situation like this?
So see, first of all, yes, it's very true that your inner world is reflected on your outer world. And it is a proven science that says that the quantum field out there is just a mirror, right?
Right.
One of the qualities of the quantum field, this infinite quantum field that exists on the outside, is it's a pure mirror that's constantly reflecting our inner world. There's also a law of the universe that states that the law of correspondence that states as within so without.
Okay.
Right? And हमारे हिंदी गानों में भी एक लाइन है, जीवन एक दर्पण है. Darpan means mirror. Right? So when you recognize this, you realize that whatever is happening on the outside world in the area of your health, your relationships or your money is only a reflection of your inner energy, an imbalance of your inner energy.
Okay.
Now how does one go into balancing all of this? That is a journey. It's not like a formula that I can give you that do this. The problem with people not finding balance is because they're expecting that हमने 2 healing sessions कर दिया अभी हम balance हो जाएंगे. No, it's not like that. It's like a constant journey.
Right.
Today, after 30 years of constantly working on myself, I can very proudly say that yes, I feel balanced, but there are times when I slip away still. But I at least know where I'm going and I know my direction into balance.
So is it like how we breathe? We need to do all these things to be balanced.
So, your breath is your connection to life. It's your connection to the entire field of consciousness, because when we breathe in, we are breathing in prana, right? And it is also a doorway to consciousness. It helps you regulate your nervous system. It helps you oxygenate your brain and keep your brain hydrated with oxygen. So, it's one of the tools that can lead to a sense of awareness. But is it the only way breathwork is that the only way to create balance? No. There are many more ways, like when you first of all recognize that the emotional wounds that we carry inside from our early childhood, from the time when we were in our mother's womb, the thoughts, feelings that have impacted us,
right.
And all of that information is stored in our cellular memory. And that is becoming our inner information, our inner thoughts and feelings. And recognizing that, becoming aware and going into a healing process is the key to creating balance.
Absolutely right. So within the womb also, at times we have the fear of heights. So is it within the womb, and when we grow up, it becomes more stronger? The fears become more stronger.
Yeah, it could be that could just be an example, right? Or even fear of heights could be coming from. So it's important we recognize, irrespective of what fear we are carrying, irrespective of what's going on, we carry fears and memories from our past life, from the time when we were in our mother's womb and our early childhood conditioning years. So the memories could be coming from anywhere. The fears could be coming from anywhere.
Is it from the past life also?
Yes.
Can karmic healing also be done via various mediums? What all you practice?
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
So let's just start. What all practices or maybe what all mediums do you teach so that people can heal their emotions, karmic healings, past life, or any type of emotions can be healed via your
So
medium?
when somebody engages and surrenders themselves to us for healing, we start from the topmost layer of the iceberg. It's like peeling off layers, and we start the modalities we use is breath work, water rebirthing, land rebirthing through breath work. Then we have EFT, we have Reiki, and we have reprogramming tools and techniques of how we help you reprogram your past memories, your emotional addictions, and all of that our mind is going on to. So it's very simple that when I start dealing with people, I start from their mind. I help them first heal their mind. Then I go deep into their emotional bodies, helping them see the dark side of their wounded shadow, and helping them heal that and balancing the masculine and the feminine energies within us. And then we go into your physical body, because your physical body is the container of your mind and your emotions, right? And then once we've healed the mind, the emotions and the body, then we also go into healing their soul. And the soul is carrying all the past life memories, right? So it's a very deep journey, and we just don't address one paradigm. For us, it's important to address all the four pillars of a human consciousness: the mind, the emotions, the body, and the soul.
Right. I think you guys are doing absolutely great job. And I would like to put some light. Just now you mentioned that every soul has a masculine and feminine side to the same thing. But लोगों को actually ऐसा लगता है कि if I'm female, I only have a female side. And if he's a male, he would have a male side. So I would like to address you to the audience so that they can understand कि yes, एक इंसान या एक सोल के अंदर दोनों साइड्स होते हैं, and how is it important to balance?
So it's very important to recognize, Mansi, that irrespective of the gender, male and female is a gender, and we are talking about energy because soul is energy, right? And when you look at energy, for example, when you look at physics, in energy we understand atoms, right? Now what are atoms made up of? Electrons, neutrons, and protons. Now electrons are negatively charged particles, which is the negative side, the dark side. And protons are the positively charged particles, which are the light, and the neutrons are the neutral, which are carrying the nuclei. So when you understand this as physics, and we are made up of energy and atoms, we also carry a negative charge and a positive charge.
Right.
The negative side is the feminine side. And here we are not saying negative is bad or good, right? And the positive side is the masculine side, right? The plus and the minus. What we're trying to tell you is every single soul is having these two polar energies. And the game is to depolarize ourselves and come into singularity if we want to go into moksha nirvana. Like for example, if you look at the cover of this book, the dark side would be the feminine, and this is the masculine. And when we balance both, I like to give you this analogy that let's assume we have a black wing here and a white wing here, and to fly high we need both the wings in balance.
Right. Then only we can fly.
Yeah, but a lot of us really get wounded. We carry masculine wounds and feminine wounds at a very young age, and we don't even know that. So we kind of get imbalanced. Balancing them is the key for us if we want to move higher and manifest more.
Right. Once if we are balanced, will that actually affect our career also, like in a positive way, that we will be able to maybe manifest whatever dreams we want? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely, yes. So when you understand life that's happening on the outside life is made up of three areas. Number one, health, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Number two, relationships. And number three, money. And we just established in our last conversation that our inner world is reflected on the outer life. Right? So when I heal myself internally and balance myself, all three areas of my life get upgraded and balanced, and I start thriving in my health, in my relationships, and in my money.
Balancing is so much important, and it can actually give you so much positive things if we are balanced from inside, right? I think that is why a life coach is very important. You being a life coach, what all things you can teach us more, guide us more, other than this aspect? And why is it so important to have a life coach? Why are people so confused, and how can you help and guide them in the same situation?
See, it's very simple to understand. Life hai to life coach chahiye. Like for example, today we recognize, today Sachin Tendulkar is also Sachin Tendulkar because he has a coach. Right? We all need someone to guide us, a coach, a guru, someone to show us the path. It's very simple to recognize, Mansi, because we are not born with a manual or a guidebook or a GPS inside us how to navigate through life. And when we are small, nobody teaches us how to manage anger, how to manage fears, how to manage sadness, or how to go within and heal our karmic blueprint, our karmic baggage that we are carrying. Right? So as a life coach, it's really important for me to be able to help people empower themselves in any aspect of their life. In my last 18, 19 years of being certified as a life coach, I've realized any problem can show up on my table. Some people who are suffering from financial health, they are stressed in life, they come to me. Some people with a disease in their body, they will come to me. Some people with relationship problems will come to me. Depression, anxiety disorders, or just emotional problems, too much anger. Right. So life is such an expanded buffet of so many things. So having a life coach helps you not make those mistakes because it's precious and it's a journey. And it's as simple as, going on an unknown journey. And अगर आपके पास रास्ता नहीं है तो भटक के गलतियां करते करते पहुंचोगे. A life coach helps you create a direction where a straight path where then your karma and your dharma, your purpose are aligned, and you can enjoy the journey and actually become the creator of your reality.
Absolutely great. You just gave a great solution and a great definition of life coach, which is actually important to everybody. People these days are confused कि अगर हम spiritual way में, मतलब हम अगर सिर्फ भगवान की पूजा करेंगे तो we will be sorted, but actually there are so many aspects that not only spiritually you need to be aligned with your own soul as well. You need to find what is the purpose of life, not just with mantras is just one way, I can say. Is it true?
So see, mantras, the power of sound. Again, when you're chanting mantras, they have their own frequency and vibration. And like Nikola Tesla said, if you want to master the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. So when I chant a mantra with an intention, the mantra has its own essence of frequency. So I get tuned into that frequency momentarily. That changes my energy in the moment. However, that only creates a sense of awareness for me to then see something that I need to heal. Right? So mantras are the first step or the beginning to move into a higher paradigm. But people only get lost in chanting mantra because they don't want to go beyond that into the healing process.
So after doing mantra, what would be the next step people should follow if they want to maybe understand higher what is world or what is life?
No, so see, we come into life, right, with an objective to heal our unhealed soul. Because if we were totally healed and if we did not have any karmic baggage, then we would be in the seventh dimension in moksha with a halo on our head and a very angelic presence. We would not be here in the material world with struggling with relationships and emotions. So every soul that comes here has a purpose. The first purpose is to heal our unhealed karma. And the second purpose is what can I give back then? What is the gift that I can be into the planet? But most of us, because we don't have a roadmap, we don't even go within to see what we need to heal. Mantra chanting creates a level of awareness or it opens up our inner vision, like our third eye maybe, because our two eyes are given to explore the outside world, but our third eye is to explore our inner world, right? So mantra chanting, focusing on our third eye and mantra chanting opens up this whole realm of possibility where I have this awareness that now I can go inside and I can heal everything that's unhealed in me, so that whatever is inside me is reflected very cleanly on the outside world.
Absolutely great. So much great knowledge it is. Okay, so now the next question which I would like to ask is, as you just mentioned, that mantra is the first step, right? और क्या क्या तरीके हो सकते हैं एक इंसान अपने आप को कैसे हील कर सकता है?
So there are many various modalities, Mansi. Again, if I go to explore it, there is the karma healing process, there is breath work, there is Reiki healing, then EFT is a modality, shadow work is a modality. Then when you look at it from a very psychological perspective, there are modalities like IFS and cognitive brain therapy. Neuroscientifically, if I look at it, there is reprogramming of the mind, and through diet you could kind of start the healing process and trigger the healing process. So there are many ways.
So which one does the golden age follows, and what what is the case study you would have actually, your students would have achieved so much positive things, you would have seen your students actually transforming themselves. So I would want to know what is your USP, that is what is golden age USP, and how many students you guys have healed.
So our approach is very holistic, because when a person comes to us, like I told you previously, we look at them as a whole, and like suppose if somebody came with a physical disease problem, we will heal the physical disease through their mental, emotional and their spiritual side, because we understand that your body is the container of your thoughts, your feelings and your soul. They're all four tires of a vehicle. So your mind is one tire, your emotions are one tire, your physical body is one, and your soul is one. And even if one tire is misaligned, the ride gets wobbly.
Right.
So our entire paradigm is very holistic. We focus on aligning all the four quotients: the IQ, the EQ, the PQ and the SQ.
Okay.
And it's a very holistic approach. And we also help you then balance your material world and your spiritual world, carrying all your relationships with you. So it's a very complete package. We don't discount any side of your life.
So if I say that if there is a situation where a person has come with a big disease, so do you guys believe that the disease can be healed without medicines?
No, I never ever say that. We complement the medical world, because we are healing them emotionally, and the medicines are needed at that time, because if it's a very, very big disease, then sometimes allopathy and medicines, although if you see through diet, and it takes a lot of responsibility for you to heal from the non-medicine approach. But when a person is in a very, very diseased state, at that time maybe the medicine might help to come to a state of neutral, and then from there we can have them medicine free to give them a disease-free life through the natural ways.
Okay. So do you can you share some of your case studies of your students who would have come with a depression, anxiety, and they have actually healed themselves?
So sharing a particular case study, I'm not very sure, because we do have a confidential disclosure. However, I can say that there have been a lot of people in the last 30 years that we've really taken them through this journey. So when they come to me and if they're under medication, I have them be under their medication. We don't take over the medicine part of it. However, through the therapies that we give them and through the natural ways, by regulating their diet, their exercising, and by meditation and all of the healing that we do, automatically their own doctor starts reducing their medicine and they become medicine free.
I think that would be a very much proud moment to you as well, when your own students heal with your process and the medicine process. It would be a proud moment.
Yes, absolutely, because it actually
motivates
me, and it also gets me in touch with my own purpose or my dharma, that I know I was born for this, and I think I feel proud that I'm doing a good job.
As you just mentioned that the purpose of life, what is your purpose of life and how can the listeners find their purpose of life?
So, when you talk about purpose or dharma, we are born with a particular purpose. Every soul is born with a purpose, right? So, I like to separate purpose of life as role purpose and soul purpose.
Okay,
Right.
very great way.
Yeah. So, soul purpose is what we are born with. Like, I know in this lifetime I was born to be a healer. I was born to transform people.
How did you, tapped into this thing? Yes, I was born to be.
Yeah,
a
I will
healer.
come to that right after I've completed the definition. So, the soul purpose, we carry it as a sanskar within us, right? So for example, if somebody was born to become a singer as a soul purpose, then he has a good voice, he's born with a good voice. Or an artist is born with a creative skill, right? So we are born to do that, like actors are born with that skill to act. So that's our soul purpose. Our role purpose keeps changing, so we have different roles. The role of a mother, the role of a wife, the role of a mother-in-law, and maybe the role of a life coach. So we are juggling between those roles. So it's very important to balance the role and the soul purpose.
Right.
Now coming to the question, how did I get in touch with my soul? Purpose is, when we are born, we are all connected, we are all spiritual beings and we come to explore the material world. But somehow because of our upbringing and our childhood traumas, we move away from our soul and we get programmed in our mind, right? So, and our soul purpose is there inside our soul. So if you really want to get in touch with your purpose, you first have to journey out of your mind and come into your soul through the power of healing, through the power of meditation. And when you go there, you just find that whole pitara of your beautiful wisdom that you're carrying, that you want to give out into this world.
So I think the first step would be introspection and then the breathing part, because
and healing.
Also, you talk a lot about healing and dimensions as well. So could you please elaborate on the same thing? Healing, I mean that breath healing is very much important, and breath healing say we can actually understand maybe tits and bits of our soul. So please put some light on this.
So see, it's really important to recognize our connection to life is our breath. But you know what, as we keep living life, we don't even know we are breathing. And actually, when you're breathing in, what are you breathing in? White light, God, the essence of consciousness. So when you consciously breathe in that light, it has a real impact on our brain chemistry. You breathe in oxygen, the neurons in your brain get alive, right? And they produce certain chemicals. And then you breathe out carbon dioxide, right? When you understand the entire connection of life, now just look at the coexistence, okay? We breathe out carbon dioxide and trees need carbon dioxide to survive. And then they breathe out oxygen and we need. So we are coexisting in nature, and I think that is the game of God. So you're actually breathing in the essence of God, the spirit of God. And when you take it in consciously, it takes you deep into your soul. Like I always say, the journey from your mind to your soul is done through your breath. Your breath is your doorway to your consciousness, or to doorway to various dimensions that are available. And there are very different techniques of breathing that creates different brain chemistries with which you can have elevated or altered states of consciousness.
So what is intuitions?
Okay, so उस word में answer है intuition का मतलब अंदर से tuition. Your soul is giving you a message, right? So अंदर से हमको tuition मिल रही है, and who is in the soul is spirit, God, or the all consciousness. So when we are connected with our self within, our inner guidance system guides us how to navigate through life, and that is what intuition is. It's an inner voice.
Right. And at times with intuitions we get confused. Is it right? Is it wrong? So how to understand and channelize that aspect, that no, whatever my intuition is saying, I should follow.
See, that comes with primarily two aspects. Number one, we have two voices in our head, inside of us always. One is the voice of our head, and that voice is coming from our past memories, unresolved trauma, our past emotional addictions, and everything that we've gone through past that was unresolved. So that's all the noise in our head. Then there's always a nice silent voice that's coming out, which is the voice of our soul or the voice of our heart that always wants to guide us in the correct way. people who are not connected to the soul, who don't go within, they kind of are confused and they only stay in their mind with all that noise and that clutter in their head. So to recognize and distinguish between the voice of the mind and the heart, so the mind and the heart to the mind and the soul, is the voice of the intuition is like a feeling in the body, because it's a feeling, right? It's a knowingness, it's a full body yes, right? That's intuition, that's spirit guiding you. The voice of your head will always have a story, will always have justifications, reasons, fears, and ifs and buts.
Amalgamation of everything.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And when you really understand and separate them, then you know who to listen to and you know where to go.
Right. And which is the right decision, which is the wrong decision for life. If you see in today's world, there's a lot of, relationship, situationship, physical involvement with a lot of people, multiple partners, is having a lot of, noise. So, I believe that it's not good for our soul. What is your opinion about this thing?
So if we talk about physical interaction, I don't have comments on this for the simple reason that we only have to come into the light after going through the darkness.
Right.
Right? So first mess up totally. And from there, because even when you look at the Big Bang, only from the darkness came out light. So today if people are in that darkness, I don't call it good or bad, they're just in the dark and they don't know better. For them that's their paradigm and there's no right, wrong, good, bad. That's where they are, right? So we can't judge anybody for what they're doing, the choices they're making with their physical body, with their sexual energy. However, once you go into the spiritual journey, the spiritual path, after having gone through all of the whatever you've done, then in a higher level of your consciousness there's a need, because the same sexual energy is translated into spiritual energy.
Right.
Because you upgrade it. So, but if you're in the physical world and if you're denying yourself of this, then you are bypassing that energy. Because it is a survival need when you're in the lower levels of your consciousness.
So you believe that pehle raita philal lo sara, dekh lo, experience kar lo, and with the experiences you will learn.
Absolutely,
and come.
because see, it's a sexual energy and it's the need. It's a need, it's a survival. It's a need because the energy is there. How can you deny the presence of that energy?
But
Right.
age and the age doesn't matter.
No, we're not talking about the age, we're talking about the energy, or is it right, wrong, good, bad? It's a part of us, right? And if you bypass it and you just become spiritual, then you're actually not healing the sexual wounds because we carry maximal wrongness to this energy. But what if I told you the sexual energy, the spiritual energy are the same energy expressing itself in different dimensions or different levels of consciousness? So then there's no right, wrong, good, bad, right?
So deep.
Yeah, it's actually deep, and that's why it's a very controversial thing to talk also about it, because to really go and understand this, you need to go into the depth of it. But as you raise your consciousness, so your sexual energy is in your lower chakras and it's expressing itself. But when you do your breath work, when you do your meditation, you're raising the same energy to your crown chakra, and that's becoming spiritual energy.
Yes.
So it's like, water, you're making it into steam or you're making it into ice.
Right.
The basis is water. So this is the same energy when we bring it into our heart chakra, it translates as love. Right. When we bring it into our sacral chakra, it translates as sexual energy. When you bring out the same energy into your crown, it translates as spiritual God, white light. So then how can you wrong this energy?
Yes. This was a great eye-opener, I think, for me and for everybody as well. As you just mentioned ice, and you guys are very much popular about ice bath. So what is it all about? How does it help people? Maybe metabolism is also being increased via this thing. How and what all bifurcations?
Okay, so the first thing is it's got a lot of health benefits, mentally, emotionally, physically and spiritually, right? And when I talk about the mental health benefits, one ice bath session can trigger and accelerate 250% more dopamine in the brain. right? And that is that one chemical which we all need for feeling good and feeling that high life condition and feeling that calmness within.
Dopamine is a happy hormone, right?
No, dopamine is the rewarding hormone. Happy hormone is serotonin, right? However, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love chemical, right, which is produced by touch. So in an ice bath, serotonin and dopamine is produced, more so dopamine. So suddenly it gives you that big kick where you start feeling calm, and then suddenly your brain starts getting addicted to that calm feeling inside. That's the first benefit. The second benefit to your emotional health is it gives you more resilience, because so when you're put into a very adverse condition, like you're put into a tub of ice, instantly your brain goes into a fight and flight mode, which is a stress mode, and it is a very temporary stress, a short-term stress, which is very healthy to kickstart the chemical cortisol or adrenaline. And then while you're in the ice bath, we regulate your breath. We make you do box breathing, which is a very calm breath. So now here you're training your brain how to stay calm even in adverse conditions. And then dopamine bhi aa raha hai. So then your brain gets addicted to being calm even when there is so much of chaos going on in the outside world. What it really helps you is it widens up the gap between a trigger and your response. You immediately don't become reactive. You're not sitting on the edge all the time like there's a tiger running behind you. So when there is a trigger, when somebody's triggering you, you are calm enough, patient enough to create a gap, and then rather than reacting, you end up responding to the trigger. And it has a very good effect on our physical body, because there's something called brown fat and white fat. Now brown fat is very good fat when it's activated, and it keeps us in a high metabolic state, right? And due to various reasons, it gets deactivated in our body, and the white fat then starts accumulating to become the fat around our body. Now, an ice bath session or a couple of ice bath sessions suddenly start triggering and activating the brown fat. That then raises our metabolism and starts keeping you in a better state. It reduces inflammation, and it suddenly has a blood rush, and we feel very, very elevated. And when you go into ice bath and you're doing your mantras or chanting, spiritually you have a very elevated state of being. However, we highly don't recommend the ice bath sessions for people who have a heart condition, which is adverse, or at the moment if they're having very high blood pressure and it's not regulated, right, then it's not recommended. If you have your high blood pressure and you're having your medicines and it's regulated, then through a lot of care and through the pre-breath work and the post-breath work, we can take you into the ice.
Okay, great. So, how many sessions are required for one person to take ice bath?
So, scientifically, having an ice bath is like having a bath every day. Your body needs it. However, in a week for beginners, we highly recommend in once a week if you can do a total of 11 to 15 minutes initially. So each ice bath would be about 3 to 5 minutes. So 3 times a week, if you can do that and create a practice, it is really a great thing for you to really transform yourselves within 6 months to 8 months.
Super. Great. I think this is a great technique to balance each and everything. And this targets a lot of areas of our life. Okay. And if we talk about these days, addictions are becoming very much in the light. Phone is is an important thing in our everyday life, yet it is becoming too much addictive. So how can you give some light on this situation?
So first of all, it's very important to recognize that the human brain, who is our manager, our brain is managing a whole lot of stuff. It can only function on 2 prime pillars, memory and addiction. So addiction, the brain is an addictive device because, like for example, let's say for example, now I drive a car. The first time when I go to learn to drive a car, my brain has not memorized that feeling or that technique. So I have to become very, very conscious. Right? But however, when I keep practicing something for 4, 5, 6 days, my brain then memorizes how to drive a car, and now that's gone into an auto-program mode, which has become an addiction. Like today when I'm driving a car, I'm addicted to, I'm just doing it, right? So our brain to survive and to function needs memory and addiction. The only problem is, because we're not doing these things consciously, we're getting addicted to the wrong things.
Right.
Right? our goal is to recognize that and get addicted to feeling good, get addicted to going to the gym, get addicted to being kind, get addicted to. So, when we learn to get addicted to these things, right, automatically the negative addictions get neutralized.
Right.
But addiction rahega, hona hai. But we are getting addicted to wrong food habits. Why not get addicted to healthy eating patterns? Why not get addicted to being rich or having a millionaire mindset? So even those are addictions.
Right.
And people who achieve goals are through these addictions. So addictions are good. The point is, what are we addicted to is we need to question that and change our entire paradigm of that.
What we are choosing.
Yeah, what
so
are we
basically
choosing?
our choice needs to be right.
Yeah.
What addiction is good.
Yeah.
Okay. And these days, even the very toddlers are using phones and scrolling reels while having food, or else people, kids don't eat food. They say to their mom, नहीं मेरे को phone चाहिए तभी मैं खाना खाऊंगा या खाऊंगी. तो इस situation में parents में और new parents को आप कैसे guide करेंगे?
So this is not about the kids. The child doesn't know what a phone is. It's really about the parents. And parents love. See, it's right parenting and conscious parenting is like a full-time job, and it is very tiring. So for our own convenience, we kind of hand over the child the phone so that वो थोड़ी देर चुप करके खाना खा लेगा or whatever. So we've kind of picked up these convenient ways of handling life. But I only recommend to people that if you really want a child and do the right way of parenting, you have to have time and prepare yourself. You have to have time and prepare yourself for parenting because it's a full-time job. And if you don't have time and if you feel you want to rush through it, then it's better not to bring an auto-programmed robot into this world. Right? So I don't think it's got to do with children because बच्चों को जो भी दोगे they will get addicted to it.
So अब बच्चे तो हो गए तो उनका सॉल्यूशन क्या होगा इस सिचुएशन से न्यू पेरेंट्स को या फिर ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग पेरेंट्स को कैसे हम गाइड कर सकते हैं?
So the art of conscious parenting, right? Especially the first 0 to 7 years of a child's life are the most important foundation years, right? And do you believe that our foundation creates the strength of the building?
Absolutely.
So if these 7 years are consciously done both by the mother and the father, right, in every aspect, mental, emotional and spiritual, then you will actually nurture a well-balanced human being. But we end up making a lot of mistakes, not consciously but because we don't know. And in today's world, we cannot discount the impact of conscious parenting because we are living in a world of information. It's everywhere. So I think it's parents' responsibility that before they even conceive a child, they must go into learning what conscious parenting or conscious pregnancy is all about, because even the 9 months in the mother's womb, right, whatever is happening in the child's environment, every thought, feeling and emotion that the mother is going through is being programmed as a cellular memory in the womb, in the fetus, right? So even before conception, I think parents should start preparing themselves and planning the next 7 years.
Because kids do get affected if parents are fighting, then they also get affected. Why are you fighting?
Yes.
They also feel sad because I think they don't understand it, but emotionally and energies around them they feel.
Yeah, and it really impacts the growth of their cognitive brain, the intelligent brain, because the intelligent brain develops after 7 years. So before that, if the child is going through an environment where the child cannot process what's going on, my parents are fighting, right? Because there's no logical brain, so the child can't just understand. For him, that is an unsafe environment, and the child goes into a very deep fight and flight or a threat mode, and that translates as trauma in our nervous system.
Right.
Trauma is anything that's too much for me to handle. And for a small child who's 5 or 6 years old, he or she cannot handle the energy or the vibration of a mother and a father fighting. And they don't know how to process it, so their nervous system stores that memory or that trauma, assuming that we'll deal with it in another time. And we don't deal with it, so then that stays as a trapped memory, a trapped emotion, and that becomes our behavior when we grow up. And we end up doing the same thing what our parents did. We end up being as angry as they were. We end up fighting with our relationships like they were. So when you actually see our patterns in relationships, our patterns in money are exactly how a mother and father had. when you join the dots. Because all of those memories are stored in our nervous system.
Right.
So healing is exactly a process where we go and we retell ourselves a new narrative or a new story, right? Or we process those unprocessed memories and emotions.
So basically, healing is very much important to rejoin the dots.
Absolutely,
Maybe
yes.
what dots were wrongly joined, we need to rejoin
Yes.
it nicely.
Yes.
Great. And these days, anxiety, depression is so much. As we're talking about kids, people are ready to have kids, but they are not able to conceive it because of this stress, depression, anxiety, emotion, and they are opting for an option called IVF or various other matters. So how can they balance life and can have their own child in a healthy way?
So there's something called womb trauma healing that I do, and currently the energy on the planet is really shifting, and that's another subject altogether. So a lot of new souls, right? They want to choose parents who are evolved. So that's why this conception problem is happening from the very soul's perspective. However, when couples come to me, I take the mother and father through a healing process of healing their childhood memories. And we do the womb trauma healing, right? The conception happens. Please understand, giving birth to a human being is one of the biggest events on the planet, right? And in the olden days, even before mother and father could conceive, there would be like sacred rituals, because they would heal the womb space, keep it clean so that we were bringing in a new soul and nurture that soul for 9 months in the womb space. But today, what we've lost it, we don't even know. So all the programs and the memories of childhood a girl is carrying, she carries in her womb space. A man carries all of their stored memories and trauma in their stomach space. So all of that is then impacting the quality of our chemicals, our hormones, and it's impacting the quality of the sperm and the egg count, and that's where the problems are happening. So once we go into a deep womb cleansing process, womb healing process, automatically conception happens and you're willing to embrace this new paradigm of parenthood.
I would say this is a very cool and nice concept which you are coming up with. I think it will solve a lot of problem with new aged parents where they are so much confused. What is the right age to conceive? Because I think the right age to conceive was previously already gone, as we are getting married so late.
Yeah.
And because of our medical situations, it is worsening the situations. So via healing, at least that could be a helping hand to conceive a healthy child. So great to know about this thing. I would like to know that, what is beyond life?
Death.
What is beyond death?
So it's very important to understand the only truth about life is death. Life is an illusion, right? And the first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So our soul is energy and it cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. So for the soul there is no death. But it's only a transition from one level to another. Like for example, again I'll use the analogy of water. At one level it's ice, and then at a certain level it becomes steam, right? But still there is water in the form of steam. So similarly, when we are in the physical body, we are in the form of ice, we are solidified, we are material, we can see, touch, smell. And then when we die, our physical body is left here, but our soul becomes steam and it's everywhere, and it's nowhere, and it's the all.
And then it takes rebirth, or what is it? Like what happens?
So there is life after death, truly. And it's very important for us to recognize this, because we feel marne ke baad kya hoga, but actually wise people and spiritual people and people with great level of wisdom, they actually live every moment consciously, because they know this is adding on to the paradigm of afterlife where they're going to go. And this subject is very, very deep to be talking just very casually, but the truth is there is life after death. And yes, we come back again and again to learn all the unlearned lessons.
Right, and that's why it's said that कर्म अच्छे करो तो आगे जीवन भी अच्छा होगा.
Absolutely, because it's exactly like when you're studying in 4th standard, and if you've not studied your maths and if you fail, you will not go to the 5th. It's simple. And you'll have to keep coming back into the 4th standard till you pass on the maths exam.
So we need to clear our karmas, then only
we move into higher levels of consciousness or higher vibrations.
There's a very important topic about overthinking. लोग कहते हैं कि मैं अपने साथ खुद टाइम स्पेंड नहीं कर सकता because I might get bored और at times I overthink. So overthink करेंगे अपने साथ ही नहीं बैठेंगे तो meditation तक वो कैसे पहुँचेंगे?
So that's exactly when you understand overthinking, Mansi. All of these thoughts are coming from our subconscious mind. Right? Now our subconscious mind is a storage house of all the memories of our past lives, our fetal 9 months of our mother's womb and our early childhood years. And when they are unresolved memories, they keep translating as repeated thoughts. Right? So overthinking is actually a trigger which tells us that now my mind's cup is full and there's no more room for more information to come in, so my mind is going to a loop of thoughts. And so that is where the entire thing of breathwork, healing comes, and then meditation comes. Because with the overthinking mind, you can't straight away bypass to meditation.
Absolutely.
It's like, having this cup full. Like when it's full of coffee, I can't have more coffee into it. But the coffee inside is churning as thoughts. So we need to first empty the cup and then bring in pure energy by meditating and by being with ourselves. So, and that's where chakra work really helps you balance, because overthinking is a sign that it's too much energy in our spiritual chakras, our upper chakras. Our lower chakras are designed for our material world, and our upper 3 chakras are for the non-material spiritual world. So sometimes when we have too much of hidden wounds, emotional wounds in our material world, our lower chakras totally get blocked up. So there's no energy going there. So all the energy is staying in our head and it's translating to too much energy in our head with too much thoughts. So then the first thing is we create space in the body by healing, and we bring the energy down and ground you.
Right.
And then the overthinking, because there's no too much energy in the mind or the brain, so the thoughts stop then. And that's the whole idea of how to regulate our overthinking mind.
Thank you for the great explanation that breathing can solve everything, and once we have that breathing control, we can go to the various mediums of
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much. Now let's just start with a play rapid fire round, which I always do with my guests. It would be a fun game. You have to be very quick. Whatever word comes to your mind, you need to just speak.
Great, okay.
Okay, let's just start. It's a rapid fire of a word game. Start?
Yes, I'm excited and I'm nervous.
Okay, relationship.
Love.
Love.
Oxytocin.
Physics.
Quantum.
Science.
Life.
Family.
Bonding.
Kids.
Everything.
Golden age.
The new age of Aquarius.
Transformation.
Transmuting energy. Alchemy.
Ego.
Edging God out.
God.
Human beings.
Soul.
Everything.
Chakras.
Energy translators and energy generators.
Colors.
Chakras.
White.
God.
Peace.
Oneness.
Plants.
Oxygen.
Feminism.
Divine.
Om.
MC square.
Solutions.
Problems.
Black.
White.
I think we're done.
That was
you so
easy. I was
much.
so nervous. But then, yeah, it was easy and fun.
Because you're so educated, you're so experienced.
Thank you so much, Mansi. I think this was really great. And I'm sure we could do another podcast on so much more we have to explore.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks a lot, and thank you so much for coming on the show and exploring so much of your knowledge. I am very sure there would be so many students, people, parents who would be visiting Golden Age at Iswara.
Thank you so much, and I'm really privileged.
Thank you.
God bless.